Hello and welcome to the video on table design combination key. I'm going to open the sales access database and we're going to look at the tables. So the first one I'm going to look at is category, the table category. And it has just 7 records: category ID, category name, and description. So just try to remember that: category ID, category name. Now I'll go into product table, and that has product ID, product name, category, and unit price. So if you were to look in design view, you'll see that the product ID is the key. It's the unique identifier for the product table, meaning you can have the same product names and categories, but the product ID has to be different on all of the records. Same thing if I were to look at category. The category table in design view, the category key is ID. Now if I look at sales, you'll see that there is a product ID and a store ID. If I go into store, you'll see there's a store ID. So this store ID matches store ID in sales. So when there is a key from 2 different tables, you can pull from the information from the 2 tables. So that's called a relational database. So if they're related, you can pull information. So the last one, if I were to go into the store had province, and if I go into the table province, it also has province. So as long as there's something that is related to something else, you can pull from all of those. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to X out of all of these, and I'm going to go into what's called database tools and select relationships. So sometimes you can't see everything, so if you hover to the corner of it, you can make them larger so you can see everything. You can also hover in the title just to move it so you can see everything. And I'm just going to make this one larger. So what's happening here is the connection is made. In the sales table, there's a store ID, and there's also a store ID in the store table. So it's a one-to-many. Also in the province, you have this one. Whoever created the store table didn't call it province code, but it's the same one. There's the connection there. You'll see also in category, there's a category ID, and it matches in the product table with category ID, one-to-many. This one here, the sales, actually has 3 keys. This matches the store ID from sales. In sales, the product ID matches in here, and then it does have its own unique key, date sold, that doesn't match the others. So that's the relationship. So now that they all have some type of connection, you can pull from all of these 5 tables and create a report or a query. So I'm going to close out of here. It's going to ask me to save because I made some changes in the size, but I don't need to because I didn't change anything. So I'll go back into sales, and I have 33. Now this is the one that had 3 keys. So if I just go quickly into design view, you'll see that it has 3 keys. Store ID matches the store table. Product ID matches the product table. But the date sold is unique for this particular table, sales. So let's go back to datasheet view, and I'll show with you. So if I had in this particular table, sales, I type 6 for the store ID, store 6, product ID 17. Now the date sold is the unique one for this one. So if I type in the same, let me put in the same date here. And then I'll put in 10 sold at $28. What happens here is the changes you request to the table were not successful because they would create a duplicate, meaning it has the same date. So all I have to do here is change it to 2015, and then it'll accept it. So it has to be unique. So I'll go back to the design view. Now to get the 3 keys here, if I went into table design and unchecked primary key, they all go away. So if I had it just on this one, it's fine, but I also want to have it to be a primary key for store ID and product ID, so it'll match the store table and the product. There'll be a relationship there. So how do you get all three to be selected? You hover in the gray when you have the dark arrow pointing right, hold and drag down, then click primary key, so all three become a primary key. Date sold is for this particular table. Store ID goes with the store table, and product ID goes with the product table. I made changes, so I'll say yes. Now, if I wanted to create a query pulling one item from each of them, I could choose create, and I'll do query design, and I'll close out of property sheets. So here's my tables. I can double click so they all open, and you can move this over so you can see them, and I'll close out of here now. So because there's a relationship between all of them, I could choose, let's go with category ID from the category program table. Then I'll choose product ID. Then I'll choose province. And from here, I'll type in, I'll select amount sold. And for the store, I'll put store name. So because there's a relational database, they're all related, you can pull from all of them. And now I'll select run. And I have 34 now because I added one myself, but they are all the category IDs, the product IDs, province, amount sold, and store name. So if I close out of here, save it yes, and I can change the name query, all 5 tables. And there you have it. Thank you.